Astro, no.
You're listening to Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey, brought to you by Everything Cowboy.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people
This is episode 89 of Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey. I'm Ted. He's Wacey. And
89 episodes, dude. That's crazy.
yeah, 89. Who's number 89? Pavel Buchnevich. Did he help you win your matchup this week?
Man, he was buzzing.
Who
Dude,
else
the
is
Rangers
89?
I'm trying to think of who else would be 89. I don't know. I'm not up to date on my hockey history that far.
But so the next episode is my birth year episode,
90.
number 90. Aaron Watson coming in hot.
Ooh,
Then we've
my
got, what else? We've got Keith Ryan Cartwright coming up to talk about his new book. And I had an email from another guest or two in the works. So we've got
nice.
some
Things are happening.
cool shows. Yeah, we're planning with
It's so cool. It's so cool, man, to think about like how far we've come with this. I know we talk about it here and there, but
Yeah.
I was chatting with some friends yesterday and like telling them about kind of like going back on some of the people we've talked to and stuff we've had. It's pretty neat. We're pretty fortunate to get to this point. So
Thanks to everyone for taking the time to talk to us, weirdos. We've been appreciating
and those who
it.
listen to us. I
Yeah.
still can't believe that,
Yeah.
man. Whenever I
People
see like
actually
some
listen.
cowboy shit gear out in the wild, like it's so neat to see. Yeah, people supporting us and buying into the thing. You know, like it's cool.
Have you actually seen it in the wild yet? I don't think I have. I don't think
have.
I've seen.
I
random
told you I've
people.
seen it on like dating apps and stuff, and I've seen it.
Oh
like,
yeah, that is the wild.
I-
That's the true wild. If you see cowboy shit on Tinder, that
Yeah,
is
exactly.
the wild.
The true wild. But and even like I've seen a few times like out and about. I've seen a couple hats here and there, and then anytime
Really?
like one of my buddies will be like will be out or they'll wear their gear and send pictures or whatever, right? And my dad sent me some pictures of a good friend of his like from down in the States who like apparently loves our show and like he
Really?
like, at the gear everywhere and stuff. So it's really cool. Yeah,
That's neat.
It's cool to see people loving it.
Yeah, thanks for buying our shit, people. Appreciate it.
Thanks for buying our shit.
Yeah, thanks for buying our shit. We've sold a bunch of it, got it in a bunch of different stores. It's way exceeded our expectations on what
And even like in the pandemic, man, like it's pretty
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so cool to see the support when times are tough. You know, like there's not a lot of extra cash floating around for people, and lots of people choose to spend their hard-earned money on what you got going on. So it's really neat.
appreciate it. We appreciate it a lot. Thanks for listening, and thanks for buying our shit. Like I said, we got new stuff. If you haven't seen it yet, cowboyshit.ca. It's in stores now all across Canada. Looking to get into the US a little bit more, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. It's all right.
Basically, we got cowboy shit for any occasion.
It's
Golf
true.
course,
Yeah.
weddings.
Speaking of golf courses, we got out for a couple rounds now. I guess the last time I've been out for one. Now I've got 3 in. A couple of 9s, 118 with you. We went the other night. Got kind of cold, but it was a nice day.
It
But
was
then
awesome, man.
yeah, got out for another 9 yesterday. Played like shit. But today we woke up and there's about 6 inches of snow on the ground, and it's coming down. We got to make a big road trip starting tomorrow or today, this afternoon. Actually, we're loading up, getting ready to go. But quite the weather change, going from plus 21 yesterday down to about negative something. Got a bunch.
It's
of snow.
crazy. And it's gonna be back above zero again tomorrow. So it's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, the
It's like
snow will all melt.
springtime in Alberta for you, but it's been fun,
Yeah.
man. My first time being a member, so it's been sweet to be able to book tea time 7 days out, and I've really been enjoying it so far. Other than the fact I've been golfing like garbage, but that's fine.
How many
early
you got
in
in
the
so
season.
far? Where you at?
4.
You've already
Got
been to
4.
Valley 4 times.
No, I've been to Valley 3, Speargrass 1, and then I
Okay.
have 4 tea times next week.
Nice. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Thursday.
Oh yeah, but Thursday it looks like it might get shitty again.
Yeah, I might pull the pin on that one. We'll see. I'm a fair
Might
weather
turn out.
golfer. So.
We might turn out. We'll see how cold it is.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, what's your goal for this year? How many are you
My
gonna
goal-
try and get in?
Okay, my goal for the season, I don't have a number of rounds in mind. I'm just gonna golf and whatever. Like hopefully, like I want to obviously golf enough to justify my membership. But
Yes.
my goal is to break 90 5 times throughout the season.
Be under
And then-
90.
Yeah, and then consistently golf under 100, like every time is my goal.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
that'll take some time to
Nice.
see. Yeah, that's my
great.
goals for the season.
Good
Pretty
goals.
reasonable, I would say.
What are you gonna do to get there? how are you going to achieve these goals?
Practice, put in the work, man.
Yeah.
Go to the driving range, swing the clubs, figure out where I'm at with all that. I've been watching lots of golf videos on how to swing properly and what to think about when you're doing that kind of stuff. And then my brother gave me a good tip about, because he got like they're his old irons he gave me, and so they're new to me. And he would go spend time at the driving range and he would like write down the actual distances that he hits these clubs so he knows. And for me, that's gonna be valuable because right now, once I get within 150 yards, it's pretty much a crapshoot on what club I'm picking. So I kind of have an idea, but it would be nice to just roll up and know exactly what you need to do and like know what you're gonna get out of each club. So that's gonna be the work I put in over the next while here. And just golf consistently, you know, like a couple times a week, three times a week, and just go a bit early and hit some balls. Or if I have a day, I just go to the driving range and chill out. Like we have access to that stuff now as being a member. So
exactly.
Yeah.
It's I've appreciated the investment lately to go and get out there. It's been, I can't do much else. At least we're not like Ontario and didn't have the golf courses shut down. I hope that we don't have to.
No.
Hope we'll have that be able to stay open.
It's wild how much value there is in that. It's wild how much value there is in like getting outside and doing that activities. Like,
Oh yeah.
Like, especially after a long winter like that, where we had no hockey. And I mean, I can only go skiing so much. And it was just a long winter of not doing much.
And it's expensive as shit.
That's just it, and being able to go to the golf course now, and there's stuff coming like with summer, like I'm pumped for bike season as well, and whatever, like just being able to get outside and not be shackled to being inside your house or apartment it's a nice thing. Even like when we were out on Wednesday, I think it was beautiful, man. We started at 4 p.m.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
It really didn't get chilly until the last few holes, but
good for layers
for mid-April. Like you can't really complain about that.
Oh yeah, anything right now is a bonus compared to last year. We didn't get out till start of May, so
exactly,
it's been pretty awesome. You were telling me before we started too. You've had a couple different sessions you've been going to as well.
So a few weeks ago, I decided to start going to therapy, and it was just kind of I was in a spot where I just needed some like outside counsel, I guess, and it was funny. I was like 5 or 10 minutes before I was supposed to go to my appointment, I was like this close to pulling the pin. Cause I thought, like, you know what? I don't need to go to this. Like, I'm fine, whatever. And then I went, man. And then I think I've done 3 sessions over the past month here now. And it's crazy, dude, how much it's helped. Like I've had so many like like light bulb moments about stuff and just being more like mindful and stuff. And it's been super helpful with like my anxiety and just like helping like figure out some more stuff about myself. And man, I'm so happy I decided not to bail on it, because it's been super, super valuable. And just like, again, getting to know myself and that helping out with that mindfulness and being in the moment has been really nice too. It's like, it's crazy. Like my sleep has been better. Like I have some anxiety that bothers me from time to time, and that's been kind of non-existent. And just like, it's crazy. I never would have thought it would have this much of an impact. And I can't advocate enough for like that kind of stuff and how much value there is. And even if you think you don't need it and or whatever, you're kind of curious about it, like go try it out. Like you may not, maybe it doesn't end up being your thing, but for me, man, it's been unbelievably helpful. And I'm so happy. And I don't know, maybe I don't know if it's been noticeable or not, but it's crazy. I'm really, really happy I decided to go down that path. So
I've got to mention that I went to see, I guess, a psychologist is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
This was back in like 2016 now, but I did the same thing when I was having really bad time with anxiety. I went and saw somebody 2 or 3 times kind of thing. And I haven't been back since. It's probably time to go again sometime here, but it was there. I agree. It was definitely worthwhile. And just kind of, it really calmed me down. And the lady was like, "You're not going to have a heart attack from the anxiety. Like that's not what happens. You might feel like you are, but that's not what's happening. Your body is just reacting in a different, in a way that's I guess you could say unhealthy, but it's not the right way that we react, but our minds can get so worked up that we go to our fight or flight instincts.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big moment for me, but what was it for you?
What are some a lot of moments so far? Yeah. The first one, man, that's really like stuck with me. The first kind of topic we covered was like the choices that I make. Like, so like part of the way I am is like, I'm a helper. I want to help my people. And at times I'll like choose these people. And then if I feel like I'm not helping them, then I feel like I'm of no value. But in turn, like these choices that I make, and even in relationships, like mostly in relationships is kind of where we got the topic, but like I would get pulled away from the stuff that like invigorates me or gets me going, like being active and whatever it may be. But I just like the helper side of me, like always wants to pulls me towards these people. And it's again, like it's not a bad thing to be like the way I am, but it's also, I got to be mindful of when I make these decisions and these choices, like, am I choosing, does it serve me when I make these choices, or I'm just making it because I want to help. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, one of the things I learned at a course called Choices that I went to actually here in Calgary on recommendation from Keenan Vine was that we can't take care of others until we take care of ourselves first. Mm-hmm. And as much as we want to help everyone, we have to look after ourselves first, because if we don't, then we're not, if I don't look after myself first, then I'm not going to be of use to anybody else because I'm not in good shape myself.
The last session we talked about, it's like we all have our own like set of bricks that like can make us who we are. And whether it be relationships or friendships, or whatever, like you can't give your bricks to somebody else. Like you got to like make new bricks with each other, right? Because if you have your bricks, I have my bricks, and then I don't give you mine, but we make new ones together, right? And rather than it serves you better that way. And I guess like the other thing we kind of really talked about, which really helps with my anxiety, is like just being present and in the moment and mindful, like like not worrying about what I didn't get done that at the day, and I don't worry about what's coming to tomorrow. Like I've been really focusing more on being present and in the moment, and it's been really helpful, man. Like I know, like in the past, and like I spend a lot of time on my phone with the work that we do and whatever. And
yeah,
I don't feel like I always have to be on my phone checking those notifications, or like I'm missing out on something in that way now. Like, and again, like I started journaling. I have this book. It's called like One Question a Day, and it asks you one question a day every day of the year, and it's 5 years. So wow. I just like spend some time and whatever. It's really nice to put some stuff on the paper, but like it's been crazy how much more at ease I am. Like I'll just go, like, I mean, I'm not perfect at it. I mean, like you still find yourself, catch yourself, but I'm mindful of it. No, like it's not like a subconscious thing anymore. It's like I would set top of my mind. I know how to focus on being more present and stuff, and it's been so refreshing that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to hear it, man. I'm glad to hear that it's been helpful. And I know when I went, it got expensive. That's probably why I didn't go back, because I think it cost me like $150 a session.
Yeah, I got lucky. There's like a student deal. Yeah, I got covered for. So so it's not a bad thing, I guess. But I mean too, like for a lot of people, if you have benefits, like your benefits cover that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I don't have any benefits, but I understand what you mean. And I mean, and I get, I get what you're saying. And I respect the fact that you reached out and did that. I think some folks don't know where to go, and some aren't willing to. And you even said you didn't want to go up until like 10 minutes before you're going to cancel it.
It's one of those things where it's like I wasn't like riddled with anxiety or whatever. I was just like some stuff that went down. I just kind of questioned a few things, and I wanted to talk to somebody that. And it's nice. Like I'm
nice
so
to have
thankful.
A third party too.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I'm so thankful to have,
but just a neutral
outside voice. Like just someone who doesn't know me. Like I'm so thankful that I have a great group of friends and people that support me, and I can have these conversations. But there's always going to be a bit of bias in those conversations you have, right? Yeah. So being able to talk to somebody who has no idea who I am, has no connection to me, and talk about this stuff, like it's been so great, man. Like again, like I didn't feel like I was in a place where I needed to go and like whatever. I just kind of was like, hey, like I was kind of curious, and I'm glad that I again didn't bail on it and decided to go through with it, because it's been extremely helpful.
Oh yeah. Well, for anyone that was here for the WCRA show with Scott Davis, that's coming up next. But we just got a little deep into talking about some real shit.
One thing before we go on to like, if anybody listening like is curious about this stuff, like feel free to reach out to us, and I'm glad to have a conversation. Or if you're like 100%. Like literally, like I found mine by like Googling therapy downtown Calgary. So it's one of those things. If you have any questions or just want to have a chat about it or whatever, we can dive deeper into some of this stuff. But
well, and we should mention too that these kind of things are part of what the sports medicine team does in Canada. So if you're looking and you don't want to reach out to us, reach out to we're not professionals. We can't. I'm not going to be your therapist.
Exactly.
But that's not what I do. But I'll gladly refer you to somebody that I might know, or help you get to these guys. But again, sports medicine, they're doing the spring training camp coming up on the 8th and 9th of May, and that's part of the stuff they do is they will help you get connected to somebody like that. That's some of what they're doing, and some of what the Ty Posbon Foundation is doing as well, is trying to help connect people with the right people if they need help. So if you need help, reach out. We're here. There's
We're
lots
available,
of resources and
for sure.
let us know. Always around.
Mhm.
But again, this show again today is with Scott Davis. He's the vice president of the WCRA World Champions Rodeo Alliance. We had a great conversation with Scott from his office at his house at his barn in Texas. So great. We really enjoyed the show. Thanks for sharing here this morning, Wacey. And hope everybody enjoys the show. Episode 89 of Cowboy Shit. I'm Ted. He's Wacey. Back with Scott Davis right after this.
The stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas, the prairie sky is wide and high. Deep in the heart of Texas, the sage in bloom is like perfume. Deep in the heart of Texas, reminds me of the one I love.
Well, he joined us way back on episode 35. He's the vice president of the WCRA from his home barn office in Texas this week. Scott Davis, thanks for coming back and being our guest once again.
For sure. Thanks for having me. God, it's always fun to be with you guys and
Repeat
get the real
guest.
stuff here.
You're like on an exclusive list of our repeat guests. There's not very many guys who get to come back more than once.
I like it. I mean, I didn't realize it was episode 35 or whatever. You guys
It's a while ago.
That's a long time ago now. Yeah, geez. I forgot that was
Yeah.
how long ago it was. Good stuff.
And this one's already, I guess we're recording this today for May 5th. It's, the 21st of April. So I got my dates all buggered up here.
So
For
it's the
89. So the 35th to 89. So a few shows in between there. About a year and
Our technology has improved.
Yeah, we have
Right?
now. Look at this.
Yeah, you guys are both remote now too. I think
Hell
y'all
yeah.
were huddled up last
Yeah.
time we did
Used
it.
to be.
On the
Yeah.
phone at the kitchen table. It's
Yeah,
changed.
that's right. The speakerphone. Yeah, good times. So Scott, tell us about what's happening. What have you been up to lately? We were just talking baseball, and might as well just start back with the baseball. The baseball's fields open back up in Texas. You guys are rocking again. Meanwhile, we're locked up for lockdown 72 here, and we'll probably get out by the
Right.
time we turn 50. Who knows?
Oh man.
Yeah, like we were just talking with baseball. I was telling Wacey, it was like here in Texas, they just sort of ripped the lid off. One day you're in a global pandemic and you got to wear a mask while you're getting your hair cut. And the next minute you got 40,000 people watching a baseball game, and truth is, I don't know who's right. But to Wacey's point, to see those full stadiums, like that's a sign of normalcy that, I know that we need, but I think the world needs, right? Like, I mean, to some degree or other, our human nature has been to survive globally, and with all the different countries, but like, I'm just glad to see we got through this thing so far.
Mhm.
And I'm excited about, I tell you what, I'm excited about, not to leave baseball, but I think rodeo has a huge opportunity this summer, right? They're outdoor events,
Mhm.
summer weather. It's very economical for a family of four, right? Like I look for big things from a rodeo perspective this summer. I think with the roller coaster of the professional sports landscape, I think we have a product that should appeal to people. And I hope that rodeo in general sees more people this summer. And I hope that you guys get opened up at some point up there north
Someday.
of the border.
Do you think that rodeo's ready for this? Like to like take advantage of an opportunity of this nature, I guess?
I think that's a great question. I really do. I think that I hope like hell we are, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure,
and
yeah.
that should be anybody in the rodeo business, regardless of your organizational affiliation or whatnot. You should be ready to try to blow it out this year, because I think there are a lot of Americans anyway. I mean, I get that's where obviously I see most of the news every day, but there's a lot of fatigue around causes and just some of these things that are going on, the politicization, if that's a word, of everything that we do. It's it leads the headlines. It's crept into our sports culture. And that's frustrating because I think that Americans anyway use sport to get away, right? At the end of the day, it was whether your team won or lost, and the highest of highs when they won, the lowest of lows when they lost. But you could forget about the rest of the world. And unfortunately, here in the States, the major stick and ball sports have spoiled that to a degree. That's a personal opinion, but it's fairly common with a lot of people that I know.
Well, that's like a fresh way of looking at it with rodeo, though. A lot of I guess the train of thought, the way people looked at it is like how dismal it is and how it's kind of, we're in a dark hole of the sport. But if you approach it as an opportunity to maybe kind of take advantage of something, I think maybe that could change the way people approach it and like kind of get people excited again for rodeo to be back.
Absolutely. And I mean, how, I like to say this sort of selfishly, but how crucial of a role might we play in broadening the horizon for rodeo by putting our Triple Crown events on network television. So this summer and into the fall, we'll have these events on CBS, right? A similar place to the other stick and ball sports, where we can hopefully reach out and grab some new fan base through the celebration of rodeo on network television. So it's pretty exciting. Plus, listen, there's more TV than ever in the history of the rodeo industry right now with the things that Pro Rodeo and Cowboy Channel are doing. So are we ready? I don't know. But should we be prepared to gain ground in fan base? Absolutely. If we're not thinking that going in, then we're foolish for doing so.
When we talked last, Scott, we talked. I liked your take on rodeo on TV and just kind of what we spoke about. And it was, the point you made was that the Cowboy Channel is essentially the golf channel for rodeo now, and the PBR still has the network TV spots as you guys do with the WCRA, but Pro Rodeo is mostly all on the golf channel now, as in the Cowboy Channel. You explained it way more eloquently than I did, but I want to get your take on that. And just, it was an interesting take on it that I hadn't really heard before. And I just wanted to go back.
Well, I think that if you look at a sport like golf, I think that there are a lot of similarities to golf and rodeo. These are individuals playing as a group, but competing with one another, and the way that pro golfers they decide where they're going to go. They're only eligible to go certain places through the tiering of the sport. But for the fan base, you have the digital and the cable, the golf channel package where 24/7 it is golf. And a lot of people watch that. A lot of people watch it. And then they have, like your pro-am and your early practice rounds and things like that. They report from the tournaments and 24/7 golf channel. Then the tournament starts, right? The first round of qualifying, maybe even the second round will be on the sports cable, NBC Sports, which also owns the golf channel. And then lo and behold, on Saturday and Sunday, you see those semifinal and final rounds on network television. So obviously the avid fan follows that front to back. But doing that, or that type of media strategy, gives you 24/7 in one spot, and then it gives you an opportunity to expose that product to the world at the highest level at network and everywhere in between. So we have digital with Ride Pass. We have network television with CBS. We don't have that cable window presently with WCRA. We don't have a cable media rights provider. We hope to have that in time. But Pro Rodeo certainly fills that void because they're on the Cowboy Channel 24/7. And there is a lot of rodeo on TV, and that's good for the sport.
Like, do you think that by doing that, Golf Channel framework has rodeo and the PRCA like shackled themselves from capturing a new fan base? Like you talk about with your national network stuff with WCRA, you might be able to grab that fan that may not have stumbled upon it so easily, but now people have to seek out the Cowboy Channel to find rodeo.
I guess for me, the pros outweigh the cons with that because of the lift that's been created by the hours and hours of content that are readily available at the Cowboy Channel and through their resources and digital and so forth. But so I think, I can't be critical of that because of the depth and width of programming that's there. And look, I know a lot of those folks, and I thought they did a hell of a job on the NFR. Like me personally, and granted, I'm that guy, I'm the avid fan, but the coverage of the NFR was outstanding. I didn't watch maybe the red carpet fashion stuff, but I pretty much watched pregame to buckle presentation. And I got to see personally more of the NFR than actually when I've been in attendance in Las Vegas and the craziness of the schedule there. So, I think you make a great point, but I think right now that's okay. I think it's good for rodeo. And I hope there's a day when all of this fits together and that full media strategy is realized, right? Like that's when it could really be humming, because I believe if we go out and grab that fan base this summer, when there's a tremendous opportunity, like I believe we can show network television that we can grow. And if we show them that we're growing and others are declining, then some way, shape, or form, it should mean more television for rodeo.
I think one of the things that we're missing is this. Well, I don't know. We talk about this all the damn time, but I mean, we don't. There's in Alberta, in Canada specifically, we haven't had any reason to rodeo in the last year. There's no major tour. We've had a few bull riding events in the last year, but there's been no reason to rodeo because there's no. Like I said, there's no major tour, unfortunately, and there's no concerted effort to put on events, and it's kind of frustrating. But the format is flawed up here right now, and I think it's that same way a lot of places.
And that's scary, right? Because look, I believe that we're nuts to think that last summer, a certain portion of the athletes, stock contractors, committeemen, largely these rodeos are produced by nonprofit organizations. And there were guys that got to spend that weekend in July with their family or out on their boat or, you know what I mean? And whereas the most important thing in their life, athlete or committee person, was competing or producing that rodeo, right? So when they see what life is like without that, and maybe there are some positives to that, how does that affect our industry? I don't think we really know that. I don't say that critically or doomsday wise, but these guys need something to do. They need a rodeo to put on. What's it going to be like in Canada next summer if you're 2 years with no significant summer rodeos? That volunteer force has found other initiatives in their life, whatever they might be, right? It's a question.
Even Wacey and I were both at the golf course now. We're really
well, it's it's right? A good thing you bring up though, because last summer was probably one of the first rodeo or summers of my life where I've never been to a rodeo. And then one of the first ones in the last 14 years where I hadn't been competing or working at one. And it was kind of refreshing to be able to go for a weekend or try some new things that a guy wouldn't really have an opportunity to. So you make a good point there. That will definitely be a challenge moving forward.
Yeah. In the States here, you have Memorial Day, you have 4th of July, and then you have Labor Day at the tail end of the summer. And it concerns me to wonder how many folks just found something else to do. I think from a fan base standpoint, that's okay, because I think they'll come back. The economics of rodeo and the entertainment value, I think are perfect, and part of why we're poised to gain ground. but it's just interesting to see what some of the stakeholders, a lot of times it makes sense, or someone justifies how they can go do this and the bottom line is red, right? And when they have a chance, kind of in a weird addiction way, when they have a chance to sort of live without that or whatever, like what happens?
And it's hard enough as it is to get like those volunteers and people to like jump on board. That's the biggest thing that a lot of rodeos up here struggle with, is like they have aging committees, and it's so hard to get young people involved. And then now with you kind of take rodeo out of the picture and people find other things to do, it's going to be hard to kind of bring those people back to get to them where you need in those positions.
Well, yeah. How many committees have that lead guy that's late 60s, maybe early 70s, and he lives and breathes that local rodeo? He is the nucleus. What happens when he finds something else to do, right? So I just think I think we have to ask ourselves all those questions. We have to look in the mirror, and we have to develop strategies around it or whatever. Some of that could be good because there is a lot of rodeo, right? And maybe this is some phase where we return lighter, and better. But at the same time too, if there's towns that don't have rodeos anymore, that could be scary as well.
Do you think some of these, like bigger picture wise, what does it look like to have a overarching organization that manages all of rodeo, or is that not the case? Like, because we have to move forward to have it. Like, we're in the entertainment business first. We're not really in the rodeo business as these certain rodeos, right?
I agree with that. Is there a one world order? Is
there a federation maybe? That might be what
I don't know. And I haven't put a ton of thought into how that shakes out, but I do know this. America has our fair share of problems for sure, but for lack of better words, she was built on this capitalistic structure, and the strong survive and the good get better, and you know what I mean? And so there's a natural piece of that. The way that we work our alliances are, I would say we try to take sort of a capitalistic point of view, like how will us working together with this organization help them and help us, right? And if you can net that out, then you've got a successful relationship. And so I don't believe sort of in the parasitic approach, which maybe historically rodeo sort of works more like that. You can operate under these guidelines if you meet these criteria and you pay us. I'm not saying that that's a terrible idea. It's worked for a long, long time. But I am saying that I think there's some place between that and this free market sort of approach where, what do rodeos want? They want to sell tickets. They need athletes, right? The better the rodeo, the more athletes come, the better the rodeo, the higher the entertainment value, the more tickets that they sell, right? Outside of the added spectacles of entertainment stuff. But so how can we naturally, you get more flies with honey, right? And so our mantra from day one is we exist to serve the modern rodeo athlete. And that's where we think that the paradigm starts, because if it's good for that guy, then it will be good for the fan. It will be good for the industry. You know what I mean? And so that's, if we can change the competitive landscape to make it irresistible to the athlete, we believe the rest of it will take care of itself.
And what you are getting at by that partially is that these committees now are finding, I'm just making this up. I'm not putting any words in your mouth. But I'm saying these committees are finding maybe that the WCRA model, when it has a certain format, limited entries, it's a high entertainment property, and this might bring us into Corpus Christi, May 6th to 9th, Buck Days, formerly, right?
Yes, sir. I think that's relative, right? Like I don't think there's no internal strategy here where we built a flyer to solicit to those rodeo producers or committees or anything like that. The way that our relationship with Corpus started was really organic. They had, the pandemic, they canceled in May of 20. And so they themselves would tell you likely that they had time to take a deep breath. And they said, what do we do? How does it work? What's next for this rodeo? We'd like to have better media than, I'm not putting words in their mouth, but we'd like to improve our media situation. We would like to have more money in the purse. We would like to grow our rodeo, right? And so they came to us and just said, what do you guys do? And we said, well, this is what we do. This is could be similar to another relationship that we've had for many years with Days of 47. And they said, tell us more. We like what you have to say. And eventually we decided to partner, and we're really excited about going there. I mean, if you look at the rodeo landscape right now, Corpus comes back, they double, almost triple the total payout of their rodeo. They're going on network television, and largely from the mechanics or the operations of their rodeo, very little changed. So we're excited about it. It's a destination city on the beach, on the bay, then we go to Days of 47 in the mountains, Salt Lake City. So you kind of have that golf major sort of feel to that. There's some sellability to those markets.
Well, and you take it from being a normal kind of a middling PRCA rodeo. No offense there, but it's kind of in the middle of the road. They're kind of maybe stagnant. They've had the same show for 25, 30, 50 years, who knows? Sure. And maybe a new committee turning over, and they look and see what they can do, and this ends up being something that's going to work. So I'm not sure where we want to go next with this, though. Do you want to go?
I have a question in regards to what you had to say. So like you mentioned with the Corpus Christi stuff, like how after they canceled, they kind of had to take a look in the mirror and kind of rethink how they approach it. How do we get more committees to think that way? And you know what I mean? Like how, because that, like for me, that signals like a way we progress forward with rodeo and make it better and more sellable, like you say.
I think that realistic, gutsy leadership, is a part of that. I think that I've known Johnny Filippello there for years. Always, he takes care of business. He's an absolute professional. I think that they just decided, and maybe similar to what Ted said, maybe they were kind of caught in the middle, right? And they didn't really like what was available there. And they saw what we had to offer, which is what I think a tremendous opportunity, so I think it's just gutsy, business savvy leadership at that level that says, we're going to take charge, for lack of better words. Maybe, again, I'm not trying to put words in their mouth, but I think it's our rodeo, and we are going to go and find what's in the best interest for our rodeo. Now, what I would say is the partnership that we've developed with Corpus is a great one. The partnership we have at Days of 47 is fantastic as well. But we can't go do that 600 times a year, sure, right? Yeah. Nor can anyone else. But I believe that in the grand scheme of things, those 600 could be daisy chained in a way that made them all better. Mm-hmm. But that's going to take a lot of critical thought and a lot of humility and a lot of, like you said, looking in the mirror. But I think that, if I'm okay with being on the front of that. I've never worked for the market leader. I don't know if that's like having, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse, but anyway.
So the nominations just closed on April 11th. Today's the 12th. What are things looking like for Corpus right now? The final, on the 15th. We're gonna have the show on the 21st. You'll have your team roping pairs all figured out. We don't need to get too far into it, but just give us a high level, quick look at it.
It looks really good, right? I mean, participation was certainly at post-pandemic high, but I would argue kind of an all-time high. The virtual rodeo qualifier was on fire in January and February of 2020, ahead of our scheduled Stampede at the E that May. And obviously March, April, pandemic, cancellation, shutdown, we had to cancel. I mean, we were up close to 300% in participation year to year in February 2020. So I would say that the VRQ is back from a participation standpoint, close to pre-pandemic numbers. But so it's been really good. We've over that time, we introduced the new point system, a lot of stuff that we won't get into the weeds on. But so this is really the first segment that we've had the new point system in. A lot of people are getting along with it pretty well. The feedback has been good. And we've got a great field. I think if you at our marketing site or our website, you can view the leaderboards there, and from world champs to the best in the world, perennial top 15 kind of guys, they're all coming. And look, I mean, most interestingly, as I said a minute ago, the payout for this rodeo went from a couple of 100,000 to nearly 600. I mean, almost 600,000. San Antonio this year, I think, paid out 650, 70. I don't remember the number, right? But so not only is Corpus right now, going to be the biggest rodeo in May, it's going to be one of the biggest rodeos of the year. I think by the time the year's out, outside of finals events, this event is going to be one of the top 6 or 8 all year long. So that's exciting. And mainly we have, just to speak on it really quickly, it's a Triple Crown event. So we have those champions coming back from the folks that won Stampede at the E, looking for win number 2, Jake Brown in the bareback, Shorty Garrett in the Bronx, Jose LeMay in the Bulls. I mean, that's a who's who right there, pretty much. Stockton Graves, Colby Lovell, and Paul Eves, they were world champions last year. Michelle Darling, Riley Webb in the tie down roping. He won Stampede at the E against Hanchy and Mayfield, like the 2 Titans, and Riley came in there and won. He's a really hot hand. So all those folks are gunning for number 2 on the way to $1 million. So I would say there's a pretty good chance, you look at that list, we might be paying somebody $1 million at Days of 47.
Wow.
And the $1 million, is that cash in the bank or is that an insurance policy? How does that work?
That's a cash bonus. Now, similar to other bonuses, if multiple people win it at the same time, it's then split. But if we have a singular winner, they will receive $1 million cash bonus.
So is that something you guys insure against though? Or like, how do you come up with that $1 million? Or just having the bank ready to go?
Yeah, it's ready to go. And we felt like that, risk versus reward. Something a lot of people don't talk about is that came about organically as well, right? Like, oh, sure, win 3 majors, that's hard, right? Like, and I think a lot of people would say that, but we came up with it. Wyatt Denny won 2 in a row, failed to win the 3rd. Derek Kolbaba won 2 in a row, failed to win the 3rd. And then in the team roping, Garrett Tanazi and Joe Matter won 2 majors in a row and failed to win the 3rd. So we sat around and we thought, it's not, we didn't just make it up. Like 4 different people in 3 different disciplines had a chance to be, a legitimate chance to be millionaires. Jose LeMay, there's no reason he couldn't stay on a couple of bulls in Corpus and win that event. And you give a guy like that the runway to days of 47 from May to July and say you got to ride 2 more and you're going to get a 7-figure cash bonus, like how hard is he going to be trying when he gets to days of 47, right?
Well, that's the guy.
And I don't. Yeah, and that's easy for me to say because it's tremendous bull rider, world champion, whatever, right? But the reality is Shorty Garrett could do that. Stockton Graves has won 2 majors. They weren't consecutive, right? But there's no reason that those guys can't. Michelle Darling has a previous major win, right? Before Stampede at the E. So these people are all capable of stringing 3 together. And wouldn't that be cool if we could celebrate that post-pandemic, somebody wins $1 million.
It's a great value add on the part of WCRA though. Like the storylines it builds and what you can make out of it. Like there's so much you can do just by simply putting up a bonus prize, right? Like the just payoff on that. But you know what I mean though? Like in comparison to other sports, like the guy who won the Masters weekend won $3 million. Like
right.
Austin Matthews for the Maple Leafs gets a $15 million check in his bank every July 1st. So like,
sure.
Like when you're stacking it up against it, the value add for that price, you get a lot out of it.
And it becomes a machine because the 3 wins and the $1 million bonus will only be paid one time in a calendar year, but the consecutive wins are ongoing. Right.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice.
every market that we make a Triple Crown stop in, someone is fixing to win at minimum their second, you know what I mean? And potentially their third in every single market, and or someone is leaving that market with their first major win. Right. So going into Corpus Christi, that was something that was attractive to the rodeo. Mm-hmm. Give me storylines. What can my local media outlets run? And we said we have a champion in each discipline who is trying to put notch number 2 in the stock of their gun at your rodeo. That's the people that we want to put into the local media and sell tickets and give the local fan base someone to root for and a storyline associated with it.
I want to go back to Corpus and talk about the format and how that all came about, and I guess how much money you guys are bringing in to make this thing a $575,000 rodeo to go from it was 100 and some now and it's 5. It was maybe 180 and now it's 575.
Right.
Like you guys have brought in capital from the VRQ. I'm assuming. Plus the media rights and the major national sponsors, like you guys have a lot to bring to the table here to bring their rodeo up to a new level and bring them into the Triple Crown.
Absolutely. And I think, look, that was a big attractive, a big part of what you can add money to the purse, check. You can bring major network television, check. Because all of that eventually over time will lift their local sponsorships, help them raise their ticket prices. They have the Buccaneer Days Festival is like a 10 or 12 day festival in Corpus Christi at the American Bank Center. We'll only have 4 nights of rodeo right now. So there's room to grow that event. This year, the PBR is going to come in with a Velocity Tour event on the first weekend. So they were able to, in our partnership with PBR, that basically came about. So they had 2 additional nights that they could sell bull riding, right? So at the end of the day, for these guys, it's about the bottom line, right? I mean, this was going to help grow their rodeo. And for us, we had 2 choices, produce our own as we intend to do. But if the Triple Crown is fully built, then it makes good sense to have partners in those efforts and use those destination cities and stuff like that, right? So, it's a bit of a long play, but for us, the VRQ engine has returned, which is much of the fuel for that lift in the purse, and we're just continuing to grow the product and the brand.
And how is the WCRA at this point? Speaking on the VRQ and you guys have paid out $8.5 million so far. And I have no idea what the VRQ has brought in, but looking at the points when Riley Webb's got 4,168 points going into Corpus, and some of these guys have got a lot of and gals have got a lot of points added up. I'm just curious how it's all going with you guys and what things look like moving forward. You guys have put in a lot, but there must be some coming in to make it work as well with the VRQ, like you say, and it's back and rocking again.
Right. Well, I think it's fair to say, at minimum, that the VRQ hasn't fueled everything that the ownership has invested into the sport. And it might be some more time before, that thing is a well-oiled machine, but we're definitely seeing the indicators. Look, there's some pretty simple math. If you're going to pay X, then you need Y to do Z and, fund the purse. And then, you still have to produce the event. And as you guys know, that costs a lot of money. I listened to your episode with Randy Bernard. I can't even imagine what the expense budget is for an event like the American with the semifinals and rent and AT&T and the huge purse that they put up. The reality is it costs a lot of freaking money, right? And so, us working with some of the partner rodeos gives us an opportunity to offset that. But we also have a series of events that we want to do alongside the UTB events that we will own. We're working on finding those right markets. And so fully built, I think the Triple Crown of Rodeo is probably somewhere south of a dozen events, 6-8 events, maybe 10, throughout the year. And that also amps up the odds that somebody's going to win 3 in a row, right? So, but anyway, the VRQ is absolutely working. Think about the newness of that concept when we launched. What do you mean? I'm already at the rodeo and I just give you guys $50. Well, this is a big rodeo. That's 200. We had to really work hard to change the mindset. But look, the guy that's leading the saddle bronc riding, IPRA bronc rider, coming in number 1 in points. He actually nominated the IFR, the IPRA finals in January at the Lazy E, and figured out what he could do within our platform. He's going to walk into Corpus number 1 on the board and go for the big money on Sunday. So it's really about people doing it. You know what I mean? That's at the end of the day, that's the pitch. Try it one time, come to one of our events and understand what we try to do for the athlete to level the competitive, the playing field, and you'll have a chance to win. So that's kind of where we're at. Try it
out, give it a whirl. Well, and so Cody Reinhardt, how many of his points came from the IFR? He's got 2680 on the board here. Cody Geertsen is number 2, 2470. Were most of them from the IFR, or how many points is he getting at a little IPRA rodeo?
You stumped me because I don't know that. In fact, I was about to go, but hey, unique technology pitch right here. If you go in the VRQ on your phone, inside the app, there's a leaderboard. Go to the saddle bronc riding. You can click on Cody's name and you can see everywhere he won points.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's even better than having the answer. That's even better than having the answer.
And that's for the athletes, right? They can say,
download now.
I nominate everywhere I go and I cannot eclipse the guy ahead of me. Well, they can actually click on his name and see where he's going and where he earned all of his points. So one of the unique assets in the app that we don't get to talk about a lot.
How come I can't do it on my laptop or my computer?
Well, you can't do it. You can't. Well, you can do it on your computer if you're in the app.
Oh,
you can't do that from
not
what
a member.
We call the no membership fees, right? We don't. It's free to sign up, right? So I'll keep watching the new registrants in the VRQ and see if they come in there as a steer wrestler.
Or not. Yeah. You weren't stumped at all, Scott. You were ready for that. That's like a sales
professional
pitch.
steer wrestler.
Good.
Yeah,
good
and I'm
stuff.
not logged in, or I would have found that lickety split, right?
We can pause and edit this part out, and we can look real smart.
No way, man. That's way too good.
Right, that
You
would
gotta edit
be
that
too
part out.
good.
That's good stuff.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
I'm fixing to bust it out though. Stand by, saddle
Okay.
bronc riding, Cody
Okay.
Reinhardt. So here we go, just frying the technology.
Screen share.
At the he did get about, it looks like he got 1,500 points at the IPRA, which is a 4-go. I think it's 3 and a short with an average. So, and it was probably a D1 event, if I remember that right. So there was a huge pile of points. And that's the thing, right? Like you pay $200 there and you got every go round chance to get points, the aggregate, you know what I mean?
You guys up your fees on that one almost.
So it's a great place to, a multi go round event is better to nominate than a one header, obviously, because you just have multiple places that you could win points.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's neat.
So yeah, but Cody's really, that's the story of who we are and what we do. I do not know his story and why he has not, let's just say, rodeoed professionally at what we deem the highest level. But he's going to come into Corpus with a chance to go straight to the pay window.
So really, a person could go to a bunch of D5 events for $25 a nomination, and he got a bunch of points there. But somebody can go to these little jackpots and make it to the big shows. And
absolutely,
nobody and come and show up and do some serious damage.
Well, and that's just it, right? And so that's when when we talk about competitive integrity, right? The VRQ and the leaderboard gets you to the event, right? Now there are some special, like the number 1 is seeded into the final performance at Corpus, and number 2 through 4 are seeded into the progressive performances, right? So that's what we call leaderboard incentives. Most of our segments have some incentive to be number 1. And if you're not number 1, there's something you can pick up for your efforts in the app. But once you get there, it doesn't matter if you were 64th in the bulldogging or first. You have to go win. And if you go win, it doesn't matter who you were or where you're from or how much money you had or what horse you were riding. If you go win, you win. Doesn't matter who you are.
You've got a third event that's to be determined. Can you talk about that at all right now?
Well, so most of that had to do, we're hoping to announce that location before Corpus Christi. Right now, as you guys know, because you're certainly followed PBR and whatnot, but lot of uncertainty in their scheduling. I'm making this up, but Madison Square Garden was on there in April until late March, or whatever, right? Like there were a lot of places they thought they were going. And so we were hoping to just allow that to shore up sort of post-pandemic before we said, we're going here, right? So obviously this day and age, anything can change. But we're excited about announcing that third event before Corpus. And then I think looking into 2022, it's highly likely that we'll have 4 events in the Triple Crown series, kind of back to starting March-ish with a first quarter indoor event with a UTB, and then, a couple of rodeo partnerships, and then maybe finishing indoor with the UTB. But, last thing I'll say on that, we went to Chicago, and then we went to Green Bay, and then we went to Kansas City. So there is a conscious effort that wherever we do go, and when we make that announcement, we're putting a stake in the ground, and we're also going there in 2022 and beyond. Right. So instead of just going somewhere and doing a one-off, we want to feel really good about the market that we choose.
I'm just looking at the PBR schedule now, trying to guesstimate where it might be. And I've got to, if I was betting, I'm going to say maybe Sacramento. I like Sacramento.
Hey, Sacramento is a great rodeo market. Honestly, we almost went there the year we started our partnership with PBR, but they already had a 3-day event on the books. That's how good Sacramento is for the PBR.
Yeah.
But
No more space.
So adding a 4th day was kind of a challenge. But so I don't know about Sacramento, but I'll give you another guess.
Nashville.
Oh man, hey, I would love to go to Nashville.
That'd
I
be a
think a
deadly
rodeo. I think a big rodeo belongs in Nashville, but
man,
not
that'd
it.
be great.
Then my last pick would have to be, well, I guess there's a couple. You go to Little Caesars in Detroit, or you could do Greensboro. There's a couple there.
I would like to go to the East Coast.
Yeah.
So I would say you're warmer, but
Okay. So Lincoln, Nebraska is not going to be the one.
I don't think that's gonna be the one.
Oh man. Okay, we got to talk about the women's world championships as well. We got to get to that before we finish up here too.
Absolutely. How about that? Like, did you pay any attention or much attention to that? Did you see what Hope Thompson and her partner made out of there with?
Oh, it was over $100,000 each, wasn't it?
Yeah. So interestingly, quick story, right? We've instituted tiering into the Women's Rodeo World Championship. So you have a pro leaderboard and a challenger leaderboard, right? So in the team roping, you can actually be a pro header and you know what I mean? Because we use the global handicap rating system, right? So Hope and her partner, Hope is absolutely a pro header, but she's a challenger healer. So she headed, the other girl's a pro healer. They competed in the pro and they didn't do as good as they need to. Well, they swapped ends and entered the challenger division, and they were successful in the challenger division. They go to AT&T Stadium, and you guys may remember how we do our payout. In the final round, you have to complete the course to get the full purse. Otherwise, you get a much lesser appearance fee, right? So at that event, if you made the final round, didn't matter if you fell off your horse, you got like $5 or $6 grand. I don't remember. That was the minimum. And then anyone with a completed time or score got the ground money pushed up into their payout. So Hope and her partner, name escapes me, they're the only people to catch. They won $90,000 that Friday night.
Riley Smith.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. You're quick with the fingers. So here they are, a challenger, if you will, you know, and they beat the whole bunch on the biggest stage. I mean, Beverly Robbins was one of the teams in the finals. I mean, she's roped in the BFI. She's freaking awesome, right? Team roper, as good as they come, and much less just as a female. But they went in there and they were the only team to catch, and they won all that money. Wow. And as challengers. So that's the unique dynamic to the Women's World Championship.
And out of 6 teams, like that's not likely. You're going to have 6 teams and we had a couple Canadian girls in there, but got a no time. Catch them one for a big check, biggest one ever probably.
And you guys know from a production standpoint, they're missing, and we're just like, oh, somebody,
please catch something.
Yeah. But like the last one to go was Bev and her teammate, right? And you're thinking, okay, this is the best team in the world, right? It's all teed up. They're last to go.
They got a rope in less than 13.66. Right.
Yeah. And she missed, and we were like, oh my God, you know. And then of course Hope was like, oh my God. But so I tell that story because, you know, I was on episode 35 or whatever, right? Like I was telling you guys all these hypothetical scenarios that would lead to these people winning all this money, right? Yeah. And so we've been able to go and do that. So we hope to use those stories. The Riley Weblen that we talked about earlier, you know, he backs in. The other 2 guys are world champ and one in the making, the hottest hand in roping, and he walks away with a check because it's sport, right? And that is a crucial factor. Putting 3 guys in our showdown round, big piece of the puzzle, kind of ups the odds, that someone's going to complete their course. But nevertheless, the women's deal is cool because we've instituted that tiering. Most of the girls after college, like if you look at high school, I mean, it's probably 70% girls in high school, but they have go time and pole bending and stuff that we don't support at the professional level, if you will. But those girls all put their rope cans up and they go get jobs or careers or start families or whatever. And now those girls can compete in that challenger category and may very well earn their way to professional status in some of the disciplines, right? So it's pretty unique and really, really cool.
And with
That's
the
cool
breakaway,
opportunity. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say the breakaway adds another entire event.
Yeah.
And on the lady side of things, Wace?
Well, it's cool because like I was gonna say like how we interviewed Dakota Bird, and she's like a big time breakaway roper up here, and she like talked to that point where it's after high school rodeo and college, like she never really had any opportunities to rope, unless it was compete against the boys and stuff, and it's just cool to give everybody that option to compete at the highest level and keep them going in the sport.
100%, right? And I think that's look, if women are half the population, right? So I don't know why in sport we have so long ignored, generally all sports, because females are half of the population. Now we can have a athletic argument about the popularity of those sports and things like that, but there is fan base to support women's sport ventures, and that's what we decided to do. And look, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I'm going to bring it up because we're talking about the ladies. But there's two ladies who, one for certain, Whitney Gastalvo in the heeling, who has qualified to Corpus Christi. And it will be really, really interesting to see. There's a gal that heads, and I think she's going to sneak in there. And Whitney is at the upper echelon of a leaderboard. So it'd be very, very interesting. Rumor is she's going to partner with Charlie Crawford. So, I mean,
oh, wow. Nice.
If Charlie gets some turns, she's going to catch them, right? So, I mean, there's just, and again, the competitive integrity will be there. It doesn't matter who you are. If you can go out there and perform, then you get paid. And that's what happens in every other sport. You have to perform at the highest level to get paid.
I had it written down that the WCRA. Well, I had one point, Scott, that I got pondering here, and I thought about. So you guys, as the WCRA, you take the entry fees in a similar format to the PRCA, and I'm just trying to get a little more into it here a bit. But so you guys take the entry fees beforehand, where the PRCA takes them at the rodeos, where the PRCA. A lot of it goes back to the prize money. Same thing with you guys, but their business model is they administer the rodeos and they don't really put anything on themselves, right? Does the PRCA produce any of their own rodeos or kind of the NFR? They don't really
kind of the NFR, maybe the Ram Circuit Finals. And I guess, I can't quite speak to that because I don't know exactly, but I think it's fair to say that the lion's share of their events are produced by other folks whom achieve their sanction by meeting certain criteria, right?
Where you guys are taking you're taking any of the nomination fees or any of that kind of thing and turning it back into more events for the athletes, where theirs is going into more administration essentially kind of like not really maybe, but I'm just trying to get the point where you guys are producing your own shows and working to change the format of the whole thing. That's what I'm
and that's a little bit of a blessing and a curse. I mean, there's a lot of risk associated with producing those events, but and I think we're where we're at just sort of by the nature of our endeavor, I mean, we do not have a world championship, but people say, well, you have rules. Well, we had to produce our own event. So we had to create rules in order to produce that event and have some framework and guidance. But this is what I say. No one knows better in northwestern Oklahoma, I'm making this up, hypothetical, how they need to do tie down roping than the regional organization that supports the majority of the rodeo in northwestern Oklahoma. Right now, we say as a collective, it doesn't matter exactly how you rope tie down calves, but it doesn't matter until you achieve here and you come to this pinnacle event. And then, but we offer the luxuries of instant replay and things like that support the athlete, try to get the calls right. But I think, there's a need, like here in the States, there's an absolute need for the U.S. Postal Service, which isn't technically a government entity, but at the same time, it pretty much is. The governance has its place, but FedEx and UPS have found their way too, right? By providing a good and fair service for a formidable value, and they've been very, very successful. So, I tend to lean on the regional organizations for the governance of rodeo in their locale and see how we can support that and take their athletes on to larger opportunities.
I want to talk about Gary. Tell us about Gary and the guy behind the show here. Tell us about him a little bit.
So he's an avid rodeo fan. Great friends with a lot of world champions of various different disciplines. An avid team roper himself, has been a team roper for a long, long time. That family also owns the Lazy E facility, the arena, and the ranch. They have a tremendous history in quarter horse racing. One of the things I believe that he got into prior to getting involved in rodeo or developing the friendships that he has in rodeo, but he believes that he knows exactly what these guys do, and he knows what it takes to play at the highest level, and really has his nature is that more dollars will create more participation. More dollars, more participation equals growth, right? So these tiering aspects that we're getting into, the guy's a engineer by trade and he's a very smart person, one of the smartest guys I've ever met in my life. He believes that what's happened in barrel racing with the divisional racing and what's happened in the team roping world with the handicapping has grown those two disciplines, which is, that doesn't take a smart guy to figure that out. Team roping and barrel racing are the two largest disciplines. Well, they're both tiered. So let that sink in. Does that mean that next month we're going to have AAA bareback riding somewhere? No, it doesn't mean that. But if we had a place where the AAA guys could be successful, there would be more AAA guys, right? And there would be more guys honing their craft and moving up. Some would never move up, just like the other stick and ball sports. But anyway, so we have theories that, we haven't really made public, but they seem to be working. Some of the early tiering initiatives that we've introduced to the women's side seem to be working. And we hope that we'll be able to use those cases and examples to, tier rodeo in the future, quite frankly. I believe that that's coming, and I believe that we've taken it upon ourselves to try to lead the way. But all of those things that I just said start with the gentleman that we work for every day. And he loves the rodeo industry. And so it's a passion play. It's a long play, but we believe that the evidence we've established in May 5th will be publicly 3 years old, if you will, right? So internally, we're satisfied with our growth thus far. And and he's pretty excited about the future of rodeo and his role in it through Rodeo Logistics, our sister company, the tech company, and WCRA, the front-facing sports property, if you will.
I want to talk about Rodeo Logistics next, but just tell me more about him and his work outside of rodeo. What has he made his living at previously, or what else does his work involve?
His history has been in the energy business, oil and gas, has a rich and very well-respected history there. Obviously he's, I've heard him say it before, they used to drill holes in the ground to try to find oil, I mean, that's really the epitome of speculation, and the amount of investment required to do so. But so I think he looks at this industry and sees that there's room for opportunity, and the pivotal piece of that is if you can buy a hamburger online and get it delivered to your house, or if you can buy Q-tips through Amazon or whatever, why can't you rent a stall on your phone? So when you pull up to the rodeo grounds, you can unload your horse and you don't have to wait for the guy to unlock it. Doesn't matter if it's midnight, or it doesn't matter if it's 10 in the morning, right? Like, Why can't we implement those technologies that are common in every walk of life? And so our openstalls.com product, the product we launched last May, is one of the tools that Rodeo Logistics built. They also built the Rodeo entry tool, which we use to take entries for our events, and they solicit to other parties to take through that platform. And then the origin of Rodeo Logistics came with the virtual rodeo qualifier app, which we used to qualify people to the major events.
Who else is involved with Rodeo Logistics? Do you guys have a team, or is it like contractors that are developing?
We do. We have a team in a separate office in Cedar Park, Texas, which is on the north side of Austin. Our other office is more on the southwest side. But we're close between employees and independent contractors and a few part-time people squeezed in between there. Between the two companies, we're over 30 deep, probably close to 40. The majority of that is now at Rodeo Logistics, between the development team and the designers and the coders and the support staff and those types of things. But Jeff Herman is the COO of Rodeo Logistics. He's actually a native of like Kansas City, and but anyway, has lived in Texas for a lot of years in the Austin area and was involved in the tech development, and he leads that charge and that team of developers and so forth.
What else are you guys working on? What else can you tell us? I want to get some dirt here now. What can you give us some hints? What's happening?
Well, so I think really right now a big initiative for Rodeo Logistics is open stalls, because it's a retail front where you and I can rent our stalls, but it's also an enterprise solution software for the facility. Which stall's dirty, which stall's clean, who's coming at 9:00, when's that guy checking out? So it's an enterprise solution software. And so that's a big one for us right now. I think we're in 8 venues and have probably close to another dozen venues in the pipeline. But like we look to, I mean, we're in that world now where Uber and, they're the leader. You probably get an Uber before you get a cab. We're a long way from there with open stalls. But a couple of other technologies are on the way. Imagine fan app type experience that kept track of, the whole rodeo in general, worldwide, if you will. I mean, the VRQ database is tracking nearly 17,000 events on an annual basis pre-pandemic. From Australia to Canada to Europe to, to Brazil and Mexico. So really it has a very universal worldwide feel to it. And we're excited about the future of that and sort of the information that once we can get our hands around it, we can, mix it up and put it back out there in a fan experience way. So that's in the pipeline. That's a ways out. Right now, we're concentrating on perfecting the VRQ, the entry tool, and open stalls.
I like it. What is there anything else I'm missing here? Big picture. I'm there's a lot to take in this.
It is a lot. It is a lot, and I hate it that sometimes when I get to talk to you guys, there's or folks like you in the media, there's so much, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so you try to guide the conversation to keep people interested, but think about that. Over 16,000 events, right? Worldwide. That's like 1,500 a week or 30 or 40 a day, right? Like that's what has. So just put golf in your mind for a second. Tomorrow, when you guys are out playing golf, tomorrow, somebody somewhere team roping, or they're barrel racing, or they're like every day worldwide, this stuff is happening. So just when you talk to somebody that thinks that they know everything about it, we're just literally the tip of the iceberg here. I mean, I think there's so much about the industry and the behaviors of the people that participate right now that we don't know. And in other industries, everybody knows everything about everybody, right? They just serve you up this and serve you up that because they know everything about you, right? Like what does our world look like when you inject growth and you start to understand more the barrel racer who doesn't leave 100-mile vicinity of their home, but participates in a platform like this so they can jet across the country on a vacation and go run at Salt Lake City for their chance at thousands and thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah. So
that makes the fan experience better too, right? Like that's what the big sports do is people know who the people are, right? And by gathering this data and stuff, this makes you guys first movers on that because there really hasn't been that type of experience unless you're top 15 in the world or top 35 in the world science, the PBR, right?
Right. I agree. And there's so much that even we don't know. I mean, there's, we could have another podcast about that. I really feel like I'm really not that stale a guy, but when you wade into this thing and you see the potential that our industry has, and with a few minor tweaks, what would 20% growth and participation to the rodeo industry do? Might take 16,000 events to 24, or you know what I mean? And then what's that look like? Doesn't matter if you sell saddle pads or cowboy boots or shirts, you know what I mean? Like that's bigger, and bigger in turn is better most of the time anyway.
We could go a lot of different ways here. I got to ask though, about the WCRA, the World Champions Rodeo Alliance, not technically crowning a world champion.
All right, let's have fun. There's already about 7 different ones, Yeah,
no, exactly.
Kidding. Yeah, I'm kidding. Really though, the way that our systematically that the VRQ is set up, right? Like think about the segmentation. Like, so we just ended the Corpus run. Well, maybe you live in Canada, and you're not going to Corpus. Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, great point. But you're not going to go all the way to Corpus. It's like 7 hours from my house, probably like 40 from Canada, right?
Yeah.
But
100%.
We also just started the Days of 47 segment, right? So everybody's at zero. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live geographically, but maybe you're in the southwestern tip of Canada, and Salt Lake looks like a good idea, right? Well, it doesn't matter what you've been doing all year because it's been too cold to do anything up there. Days of 47 segment starts, everybody's at zero. You can make a run at that, right? And so we don't have a championship, but we have $1 million bonus. What is the thing? The thing is winning the Triple Crown, right? It's not winning the world's championship. It's winning 3 in a row and getting a big pile of money, right?
Which is a bigger win than anything else in pro rodeo. Beside, like, the only other $1 million check in the sport is the American right now, if they pay it out, which they
So
do.
you want a good one? Like, and this is sort of, you know, the best guys in the world, outside of injury, so on and so forth. I'll put it this way: the best guys in the world from the previous year don't have an opportunity to win that big bonus. They have a fantastic format because they still pay $100,000, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
doesn't matter
great.
if you run barrels, ride bareback horse, doesn't matter. That's a huge amount of money you have to go to try win that. But think about the $1 million bonus. You know, one could say that, you know, the only place that the best in the world have an opportunity at a bonus like that would be our series of events.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of antithesis against the challenger level of people. But at the end of the day, with competitive integrity, anybody can win any given Sunday. So, you know, come give it a roll. But, you know, in the back of my mind, I consider that, right? I mean, if you are a pro or one of the best in the world, the only shot you have at 7 figures in one set or in 3 settings, 6 head, is right here at the Triple Crown.
I was just gonna comment like how like accessibility comes with this too, right? And that's the hardest part. Even like a lot of guys from up here hesitate going down south just because it's a big commitment, a lot of time, a lot of money. Whereas something like this opens the door, it makes it more accessible, gets more people competing and on the road, which is really neat that way.
Absolutely. And I mean, a great quick story about that, Jackie Crawford. You guys know who Jackie Crawford is, right? I mean, she just had a baby. Like, I don't know if it was 3 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago, but literally, I think it was last week was the first opportunity post having her baby that she could go compete. She goes to a jackpot on the north side of Stephenville, enters up, nominates it, cleans house, wins like 300 points. She's in the top 64. She's going to Corpus. And you can bet when she gets there, she'd be a tremendous threat, right? So literally, I'm making it up, she probably nominated again this week before the deadline just to make sure. But for a $25 nomination, she's going to rope in the biggest rodeo in May. And that probably one of the biggest rodeos for breakaway ropers of the year. And then on the overall, so $25, competitive integrity. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter how many times you hit it. You just need to hit it once good, and you get in and come give it a whirl.
Do your work, get paid.
Exactly.
Do work, get paid.
What's up with the Bronc riders? Where are the rights and some of these guys? What's holding those guys up?
You know, I don't know that. I haven't had a chance recently. Obviously, last year, you know, rodeo was kind of halfway shut down or whatever. But for some reason, what we're doing hasn't really resonated with them. And I don't know. I haven't sought them out individually to ask them. I hope to do so, but really, I think it's just a general awareness. Something happened somewhere, sometime, maybe with a turnout of one of the rights at Days of 47, and I don't really know. We didn't really have anything to do with that. It was a rodeo ground rule. That's a partnership, and I don't really even know what happened, but I think it was their home state rodeo. Somebody might have got penalized for turning out or something like that. And it may have just turned them off to us in general. But if they're listening today, I wish they'd come because they ride great. And what do we say, Wacey?
Ride good, get paid.
Boom.
Do the work, get paid.
Do the work, get paid.
That's like just trademark that now, put it on the website.
Yeah, do
Do the work, get paid.
Get the t-shirts printed.
Hey, you know what we do say that does make a lot of sense. The virtual rodeo qualifier is the fastest path to the most money on rodeo's largest stages, referencing network TV, right? So it really is like, what do you guys do? We have a platform that's the fastest path to the most money on the biggest stages. It's really that simple.
Oh yeah. I'm looking at our Canadian guys right now. You got Colby Wanchuk and Logan Hay on there, but I'm wondering what's up with Zeke, Thurston, Ben Anderson.
You know, Zeke,
Jake
I don't
Watson.
know if Zeke isn't down there, if he had a thumb down a little wet, but I don't know if he got hurt or if he just got, because Zeke's been to most of our semifinals and majors. So I don't know if maybe just the timing wasn't, or maybe he didn't go anywhere this winter.
Tough to say. Or just forgot to nominate.
So good.
I don't know. Yeah, I wonder. I just got
phone
looking
out
at
of
though, and
minutes,
I got
maybe?
thinking. Phone out of minutes, yeah. Who knows? I was just curious though. I tried to put you on the spot there, Scott.
No, that's a great question. I'd love to know why, because if there's a legitimate reason that it doesn't work for somebody, I would love to visit with them. No one can carry your mail as good as you, right? And anytime we have a chance to really visit with somebody, but again, you said it earlier, this thing is so wide and deep, right? That it takes a little while for people to take the plunge. And then, but we hope when they do and they show up at one of our events, we have them every side of the spectrum. We have guys that have spent a lot of money running at that number one spot for the advantages that it provides. And then you have those Jackie Crawford stories where one nomination hit a lick and she'll take her chances. She just needs to be one of the top 64 and get a chance to row. So there's a lot of different ways that people can approach this platform. Just get me in, or I want to be first when I get there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like it. Wacey, we've already asked Scott his definition of cowboy shit, so I'm wondering what our next.
We could repose the question and see if his answer has changed, though. It's been like 2.5 years, 3 years.
It's been
almost?
The last show was March 27th, 2019. So
2 years.
It's been over
2 years. Wow. That's too long. It's been a good visit. Right? I talk too much. So you guys, if you took me in smaller bites, if you talked to me with more frequency, I wouldn't talk for an hour and a half.
That's good stuff,
lady
though.
doing the editing has to hit the ×2 button or whatever. But, I guess V2, I don't remember what V1 was, but I wondered if y'all would ask me that since I'd made an appearance before. But,
I got another one maybe for you too.
Okay.
One way to describe it now is do the work, get paid. That's kind of shit.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Wacey.
Yeah, I got you.
Do the work, get paid. That's cowboy shit right there, right?
Shit.
A lot of millennials, they don't want to do the work.
No,
and they want to
don't do the work.
Paid.
Exactly.
They need a
That's
little
it.
cowboy shit in there and
Yeah.
get right.
Well, I sent you a hat and a shirt back a while ago, so I guess maybe a question we could ask now since we're both in different places. What do we got to do to get cowboy shit involved with the WCRA? Maybe that's the question.
Woo!
That's loaded.
Here, I'm gonna name drop right here. I'm gonna have to put you in touch with our director of communications, Kyle Jones. He'll be glad that he made the podcast. Great guy, experience in the NBA. No, I'm kidding. No, we do need to do something. You know what would be really cool is if you guys, came in and set up shop and did some interviews from an event. Got a big pile of content, right? And and I know that maybe by July, let's take a look at it, Matt. If the border is opened up, or you guys want to do some actual cowboy shit and just like sneak across into the United States.
I know a couple places in southern Saskatchewan we can get across.
Right, and take your mask off and be like,
freedom.
But no, we should think about doing that, right? You could do some live from. Obviously, we'd have to get with Tommy Joe and that crew to see what we could get worked out. But we ought to think about doing that, having y'all to an event, maybe doing some live shows, and that'd be cool.
There's a lot of mutual benefit in that kind of stuff, just given how this platform you get a lot of good content out of it, and you can achieve some good things with like a partnership in that sense.
Absolutely. You could, yeah. I mean, imagine getting to an event and you could have those conversations with Cody or, Reinhardt, how many times did you not, or, I mean, and then you could get someone else at the other end of the spectrum. And why did you approach it this way? Right. Those rodeo guys, like their strategy, well, if I come in there number one, I get X, Y, and Z, or if all I need to do is be 64th so I can get in there and go rope or whatever it might be, right? But undoubtedly, there's a group of people in the sport right now that have a specific strategy as it applies to our platform. And if you guys got down there and talked to them about it, it'd be pretty interesting to see what they said.
It ties into the storytelling too, right? Like what we talked about earlier. It's like you build up that story and you can talk to these people and have these real conversations. That's the nice thing about the way we approach it. It's not a traditional like interview. Like we don't have a rigid framework that we approach it. We like the storytelling aspect of it, and it builds kind of a, like I said, a story around it, which is great.
Ted, you should email Bobby and Kyle and say, I want the first Triple Crown interview. Not telling you what to say, but like, I don't know.
I'm typing the email right now.
A little bird told me.
Type fast with one hand.
I've always wanted to see the East Coast of the USA, so maybe we'll when you get your East Coast. I've only seen New York and Baltimore.
There you go. So I like New York City. Maybe someday, right?
Yeah.
We'll be, those aging photos. That'll be Ted when he's interviewing somebody on the East Coast Rodeo. It'll be like 72 years ago, in episode 89. I was talking to Scott Davis.
That's where this started. We finally got here.
Oh man,
finally got the interview.
Jeez. Well, awesome, Scott. Thanks for your time on this. This was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for.
Yeah, well, I enjoy listening to you guys and more than grateful for the chance to come on. I know you have a great listener base full of avid rodeo fans and any of them that can come get to see our product, or if they're players to participate in it, give us a call, give it a whirl. Like we get up every day, and I'll finish it this way, Ted. Like we think differently about rodeo in that the structure of rodeo is one of governance and membership and voting. And we wake up every day trying to better understand the athletes and how we can serve them more, right? So it's almost like a 180-degree approach. How do we make it better for them? So because if we're good at our job and we're doing that, then they show up. If we're bad at their job, then we won't be here in 10 years, right? So we have to figure out how to convince them to be a part of our platform. So we get up every day to try to make it good. Pretty much that simple.
Well, you've got me convinced, Scott.
I'm sold, man.
I want to buy my card.
I'm cracking back out.
You don't have to buy your card, Ted.
I know that's the thing. Yeah. That was
app. Oh, here we go. app.wcrarodeo.com.
There it is.
Register for free. You can find out where everybody gets their points on that leaderboard, that little sneaky thing I just told you all about. Give you a competitive advantage. Because I know you're a great bulldogger, Ted. I know that you're a great bulldogger.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
Rodeo Corpus Christi. It's May 3rd to 9th on the schedule with a couple prelims, the actual perfs of the 6th to the 9th. Coming up this May in the Women's Rodeo World Championship, November 1st to the 6th, Las Vegas, South Point Arena. Scott Davis, he's the VP of the WCRA. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Good chatting with you, man.
To the town of our field rode a stranger one fine day. Hardly spoke to folks around him, didn't have too much to say. No one dared to ask his business, no one dared to make a slip. The strangers there among them had a big iron on his hip. 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 Big iron on his hip.
Thanks again to Scott Davis and the WCRA for making this happen. Our friend Kyle Jones, Bobby Moat. He was wearing his cowboy shit hat the other day. Casey Duggan, bunch of guys that good pals. So look forward to getting down there. We even talked about maybe getting down to an event sometime. So we'll see what that looks like once we get unlocked from
the shackles are lifted.
Once the borders are open and we're allowed to go, then we will work on getting down. see
That
some,
was
see some
that was a
events.
super fun conversation. They
Yeah.
got some cool stuff happening with the WCRA, so it's exciting to see what's to
what
come
they
for
come up
them.
with. Best of
Yeah.
luck with their event. This coming up in early May, the 3rd to the 9th in Corpus Christi. I'm gonna guesstimate that we're gonna have a few more of those rodeos maybe move over to that WCRA thing. I don't know for sure,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see. And yeah, reach out to those guys. They're glad to answer all your questions, anything you might have. But I mean, it's another opportunity for guys to make more money, really.
That's the biggest
it's a bit
thing
of-
is
it's a bit of user generated money, definitely, because you're paying your nomination fee every time if it's $100 or whatnot. So that does add up to a lot of the prize money, but you can still go and win quite a bit. There's a lot more that's added in there, and they're trying to do something new. So I mean, it's more opportunities. If you go like Scott said, do your job, get paid. So
do your job, get paid, man. That's
check
awesome.
it out. What else do we got, Wace? We got a couple more things. We're talking about
yeah.
some rodeo business right now in Alberta, and there's
just,
one event coming up at somebody's house that I think is a fucking ridiculous idea.
Yeah, I mean,
or wherever the fuck it is.
Yeah, and I mean, just like I understand the frustration, but I also don't think that's the right way of going about it. Because that just like that can like stuff like that continually paints the brush of our community with this like redneck, like uneducated, like weird, like people kind of like people like redneck people, and that's not who we are.
There's a lot of folks playing by the rules that are trying to make it work.
Yeah,
and then we got these folks gonna go and try and save the world another way. Like it's just not.
It's not the way. No,
not a very smart way to go about it.
No, it's just it, and like I've noticed more and more over the past couple of months, like how big of a disconnect there is between our like the rural and urban communities, especially when it comes to rodeo and agriculture. And I don't know, like we got to start finding ways to bridge this gap and like get people educated. And
I would love it if the people that I reach out to would
for
get
sure.
back to me, but so far I've had not much luck at that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, and me too.
That's on them, not me.
For sure, like we're making the effort, and it's gonna be one of those things. Like for me, like if one of these people who we reach out to finally has a conversation and we can be adults about it, then I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where people in our community, we got to use our platforms, like I guess that's a challenge we could put out to people who listen to us and people in our community who kind of do the same kind of thing as we do. Like if you see stuff like this, like reach out to these people, like give them an opportunity to have a conversation about like what happens with what we do, and like how important this is to our way of life. And it is a sport. A lot of people are professionals when it comes to the way it's done. And it's not this exclusive club that you have to be a part of to join in, like it's literally anybody can do it. It's just a matter. We just need we as a community need to do better of like communicating that message where like making it more accessible to people.
Well, it's like I've said numerous times before, some of the most searched stuff on my website is rodeo schools. So, I think anybody can get together and put one on. Maybe there should be a more structured path to having those schools. Maybe there should be at one point the PRCA had a pro rodeo camp kind of thing, and then there was the high school associations who get to have a couple of events, which is great to see. And for anybody that had a problem with that, I know we're talking to the crowd where everybody on listening to us for the most part is going to be on the same side as us here, but like there's every other kid sport going on right now. Why the hell can't they have a rodeo outside?
As long as you're following the rules, man, like these rodeos, and like I think that's part of the disconnect though, is like people don't realize that high school rodeo is like an actual, like it's a high school sport. Like people like the provincials finals, there's like national finals, like
100%.
These rodeos are so important for for students. Like look at like you and I both got like scholarships to go to college, like if these kids don't have these rodeos and they don't have these opportunities, and like if like you say, if any other sport can go
in school, helps with mental health, absolutely, social connections as well too, which is a little tough right now with what's going on. But if everybody else is doing it, why are we getting singled out? And I don't appreciate some of the new stuff. Just single out, they're gonna have a rodeo. Like,
it's kind of negative press. And again, like I think that just all boils down to that disconnect between the rural and urban communities especially when it comes to rodeo and agriculture. And
rather than be on the defense, I think we need to be on the offense. And there's needs to be a bit more of that going around. So.
And when you say offense though, too, it's got to be in a reasonable way. Like we're not looking to start fights with people.
No,
we want to have conversations, because I know I've seen times like when something like this comes up that people kind of get on the defense, or I guess, and get like, kind of attack and like are upset, like, oh, like, and that's not the way to do it. Like we're grown-ups, we're smart people. Like let's have like grown-up conversations about this and make it more accessible for
100%.
other people, you know?
Yeah. Anyways, thanks again to Scott Davis for being on the show this week. Wace, thanks for sharing. You had one more thing, right?
I have one more
Wrap it
thing.
up. Okay.
We're gonna lighten it up. It's been a heavy top and bottom. We'll lighten it up a bit.
All
Who
right.
do you think would win in a fight between an ostrich and an orangutan?
Probably the orangutan.
I think ostrich, like bar none. Those things are nasty.
They don't even have arms.
They have have you seen their legs? Their inverse knees. They fuck you up, dude.
Good question. Get back at Wacey with your.
Who do you think would win in a fight, an ostrich or an orangutan? Best we'll send a sticker to whoever gives us the best explanation on why.
Oh, good stuff. Okay, thanks again for listening, everybody. Again, Scott Davis, everybody at the WCRA, co-host Wacey Anderson. Great work this week. Thanks again. And Sean Morton, thanks for doing all your editing. I gave Sean a bottle of good whiskey the other day. Some Alberta Premium, the good stuff.
The good stuff.
Yeah, limited. So there's some kind of cool Alberta Premium. Had to support our local Calgary distillery. But Sean is the most tenured editor in Cowboy Shit podcast history with over 36. We think it was like 36 shows to his credit so far.
And counting.
The most ever in our podcast.
And we gotta have a show with him.
With Sean?
He's done some cool shit.
It's true. We'll get him on the list here sometime. We'll let him decide when he wants to be on. So anyways, thanks again, Sean. Had to give him a bottle of whiskey the other day. It was good, some good stuff. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Again, our next show, May 5th, with country music entertainer, singer, songwriter Aaron Watson. Excited about that show. We've recorded it already, so we look forward to getting that one up for everybody to listen to. And
Don't forget to buy your cowboy shit.
Yeah, cowboyshit.ca. Check us out.
Code Waste10 if you want to save a little bit of quiche.
There you go. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks, Waze. We'll see you guys next time.